And with that, we are live on the air. Welcome in, everybody. It is Monday. Apologize for a couple of minutes late. We're working on a few tech issues, but no issues whatsoever. You guys always wait for us, so we appreciate that. I am the coach. This is the Coach and Bro Show. We are live every single Monday and Thursday, 2 times a week at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. If you don't catch us live, you can also catch us on demand anytime at our BTT Behind the Turnbuckle YouTube page that houses all of our shows coming out of our BTT studios. Coach and Bro, the last word will be live tonight on Stadium at 11 p.m. Eastern Time. And of course, our daily sports show, Coach and Company, every single day at 10 a.m. Eastern Time on Stadium. Now, I cannot do this show by myself. And this man, boy, does he have takes and opinions. And look at that. I do believe that you've shaped it up just a little bit.
No, not at
Nothing.
all. Not at all, Coach. I've not touched it in the new year. I have not touched it. No.
Oh, my goodness. He is from russosbrand.com, Vince Russo. We've got a lot of topics to get to, but first and foremost, we have a brand new partner. You can see them at the bottom of the right of the screen, shopmando.com. They're at shopmando on Twitter. And Vince, can you tell the good people, if you just want to get your toe in the water, just do a little starter pack. What is it all about?
Yeah, bro. It's all about, it says it right on the label. It's all about the package, bro. The package. It's all about, if you're a man, it's about your sweaty, smelly, disgusting package and making sure it is under control before the hey nanny natty session. And it gives you you got the whole body deodorant, so you spray it on the package. Then you got the body wash, you wash the package. Then you got the whole body deodorant, you do the stick on the package. Then you got a double down with the whole body deodorant, Coach. Then you wipe the package with the wipes, man. And by the time it's time to do the hey nanny nanny, bro, you are smelling like a rose garden down there, Coach. All because of Mando, baby.
I love that they are trusting us. Again, it's shopmando.com. You can see it on the screen. Use the code EXPLODES, and you will save $5 on your starter pack. That's the equivalent of 40% off. I have all of mine, but it's in my bathroom because I'm in a hotel right now. I'm on the road doing golf because, as you know, Vince, we are everywhere. We do every single sport. So go to shopmando.com. Okay, also, how can the good people who are watching right now be a part of the show?
Yeah, guys, you want to be a part of this conversation? It's real simple, man. You're going to do it through donations or super stickers, and we will bring you right up on the screen. Bro, remember, the coach and I are working. This is all work. We are like punching in at the office. And basically, because of you, we are able to earn a living doing this. And we are very, 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 very thankful. But, Coach, you're in a hotel room. Man, I wish I was anywhere else yesterday but in front of my television set. Coach, with all due respect, the ugliest Super Bowl I'd ever seen in my entire life, Coach.
Well, as I was watching it, everybody knows I'm a huge Chiefs fan, born and raised in Kansas. Absolutely. And anybody that says, well, you still have 3, you shouldn't be disappointed. Well, I would have been okay with losing a competitive game. But that was embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. 24-0 at halftime. And I thought to myself, Vince, well, is there anything else about this game that would interest me? And then all of a sudden, my phone started dinging, ding, 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 pictures coming in from inside the Superdome. And what do you think those pictures were of, Mr. Russo?
Hold on, Cole. I'm backing up before we get to any pictures.
Okay.
Because there was something actually worse than the game. If that is all at all possible, there was something that was worse than the game itself.
Okay, what was that?
Bro, I swear, I would have rather seen Lamar Odom perform during half. Bro, how has this dude sold one freaking record? Bro, this guy sucked. This was far and away the worst. And bro, I am so sick and tired of, oh, Vince, you're out of touch. Oh, Vince, you're not the demo. Oh, Vince, you're not the person that's, bro, this dude sucked. I don't care if I'm 164 years old. This dude sucked, bro. Bro, I right now, bro, if you play me a beat, I can talk to the beat, and I would be better than this freaking guy. And bro, not only that, coach, but to add insult to injury, we got to go through 6 more Jay-Z acts at halftime? Are you freaking kidding me, bro? With these clowns performing these halftime shows, and I'm supposed to care because he's dissing Drake's girlfriends like I give 2 craps, bro. Holy, he was worse than the Chiefs, coach.
You are well. You didn't have to take that jab. I mean, that was a
Sorry.
little personal, right
I apologize.
there.
I'm
Okay,
sorry,
that's
coach.
okay.
Got carried away.
Um, first of all, the chat agrees with you. People on social media agreed with you. What they're trying to do, Vince, because I am in the know, because I am hip. I still have a ton of swag. Okay, they're trying to get the audience that watches the hip hop world, the 18 to 34. Now, Vince, let me ask you. I have a trivia question for you. Do you know? The Grammys are the holy grail. When you have a Grammy, all of a sudden you can charge more. Your tours are sold out. Can you tell me that last week on CBS or whatever network it was on, how many Grammys Kendrick Lamar won last week? Can you tell me the number?
Yes, because I read up today, and this jabron, we call him a jabroni in the wrestling industry, coach. This jabron curtain jerker literally won 5 freaking Grammys. So that tells you all you need to know about music in 2025, man.
He swept the board. He literally swept the board last week.
A 37-year-old man grabbing his package, and like literally it was the same song over and over and over again. Every single song sounded the exact same.
The same. Yeah. Well, at least we got to see Samuel L. Jackson. We got to see Serena Williams, tennis great, who, by the way, it was all like little petty digs at Drake. She used to date Drake back in the day. There's just a lot of that. So I think that a lot of people agree with you. They did not like the halftime show. And by the way, just so people know, the NFL does not pay Kendrick Lamar to do the halftime show. They pay the production cost, but he does not make any money because they assume that after you do the Super Bowl, that your tours are now going to be sold out and all that kind of stuff. It's a big deal to be able to do the Super Bowl halftime. So he doesn't get paid for that. And all that came, it is what it is. And I think a lot of people agree with you. Now, as they were watching Kendrick Lamar at halftime, there were a lot of celebrities that were in the Superdome yesterday. And Fox, maybe about 7 or 8 minutes in, they went around the Superdome. They had Kevin Costner, you had Paul Rudd, all these, but yet they didn't show the one person or the 2 people or the 3 people that were there down on field level. Vince, for the first time, maybe since all of this started coming out, Vincent Kennedy McMahon was in attendance. He looked to be in great shape. And the person who apparently never talks to him, his own son, Shane McMahon, also in attendance. And also a person who does a podcast, who still does live shows for the WWE, who is a WWE legend, who was just at WWE headquarters a week ago to surprise Triple H and being inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. The Undertaker, all at the game. I was shocked that the first public appearance that you're going to make is at the one show that's seen by more people than anyone around the world all year. Did it surprise you?
Well, yeah, it surprised me big time. And coach, I think the takeaway is some good and some bad. Here is the good. Thank God he looked to be okay, because we've all been worrying about his health, questioning his health. Does the guy have dementia? So thank God he looked okay, number one. Thank God he got rid of his Gomez Adams mustache, which was absolutely horrendous. Thank God. But here was the bad, coach. Bro, did this guy steal any of Janelle Grant's clothing? Because it looked like he was wearing a blouse of Janelle Grant. Bro, this dude
Van,
was
Van,
wearing, he was
Vince.
wearing a woman's blouse. Coach,
Okay, let's say a
Vince
women's.
was
Let's not
wearing
use
a
her
woman's
name.
blouse.
Yes.
A
Okay.
woman's blouse, coach.
I think he was trying to show that he's been working out. That's what I think he was trying to do. The thing that shocked me the most was not necessarily his appearance, was the fact that, and last week it was announced on ESPN Plus that Stephanie McMahon will be having her own show where she goes around and hangs out with superstars. She's obviously married to Triple H. I have heard rumors that Shane, because of that announcement, would like to get back into the game. Remember a few months ago he met with Tony Khan and then nothing happened, nothing went
Right.
anywhere. Um, I have a feeling I know why. That maybe Shane is asking for more than what they were willing to give. But the fact that he would make this is a big deal, everybody that's watching right now, because right now Vince has been persona non grata. There is nobody doing business with Vince McMahon, and so for Shane to be there, it's his dad. I get it. It would suck if my son didn't want to hang out with me, but their history, Vince, and the fact that right now nobody will do business with Vince. I was a little shocked that if Shane wants to get back into the game, that he would be seen with his dad at the Super Bowl. Did that surprise you?
Yeah, that's an absolutely great point, Coach. As always, you make great points. Great points. But I think the one thing we really learned that if by I don't know, bro. I don't want to say miracle, but if Vince is cleared, we now see, man, he is healthy, ready,
Mm-hmm.
willing, and able to do business.
Well, and that's what he wants to do, Vince. It's been very clear that he's opening up. He wants to be an angel investor, and what's that mean? He cashed out a few months ago. It pissed off the executives at TKO because it lowered the stock price a lot. He's sitting on $4 or $5 billion right now, and
Yeah.
he wants to invest it. I believe he would love nothing more than to start a new wrestling company and compete against the WWE, compete against AEW. The biggest problem I see, Vince, is convincing people at a certain level that people would say, oh, yeah, I'm going to watch that or I'm going to pay attention to that. How many of those people could he get to sign up to do business with him? I think that will be a struggle for him.
Coach, I don't know. I don't know because my gosh, we're seeing perhaps the biggest star in the industry standing right there by his side supporting him. We know
Mm-hmm.
John Cena supports him. I'm sure, Brock Lesnar still supports him. Coach, when you have people like this still supporting him, I don't know if he's going to have a problem with people lining up to work for him again. I really don't.
I've been very public when asked about this because I'm in a rather unique situation. You're in a rather unique situation that we were very close to Vince, not just working for him, but right next to him in meetings with him. You wrote the show with him for several years. I was on his jet for multiple years. I was his assistant on camera as my character, his assistant for many years. And when you start to I don't know what's the word. I was loyal, probably too loyal. So when I see him last night, I see a guy that I remember at one point I would have run through a wall for, and then now you're like, how far they have fallen. The other part that I don't like in life is when you just cancel somebody and then they can't live their life or they can't go
Right.
out of their house or they can't be seen. That's a very now did he bring it up on himself? I guess so, but it's still alleged. It's still, they're still going through the court system. So I'm very conflicted with how I feel in my head when I address the subject of Vince McMahon. Are you at all?
Uh, I'm, man, Coach, I'm really not because,
Okay.
Coach, you and I both know the wrestling business is a work. Okay. You and I both worked for this man. I got to tell you, Coach, the more and more time goes on, I think people like you and I, who are good people, who are law abiding citizens, I think we were hoodwinked. Because, Coach, I'm telling you, I'm reading these alleged text messages And I'm sure your response is the same. Like, who is this guy? Like, are you kidding me? Like, I'm reading that stuff, and coach, I'm saying, no, how, no way. And of course, it's all alleged, but is the defense really going to be putting forth text messages that are phony and made up? And I find that hard to imagine. So, coach, I have to be honest. I don't think you and I really knew the real guy.
That's kind of what I meant by conflicted. Is I'm conflicted with myself,
Yes.
meaning I was
Yes.
loyal to a guy that I thought was this and he
Yeah.
was this. That
Yes.
so you're actually describing exactly how I feel.
Yes.
So I understand that Shane hanging out with him, maybe Shane hasn't been on a big platform for many, many, many years. And my gut is that with Tony Khan, he asked for the world and Tony Khan was not willing to give it to him. Now, the Undertaker part is, and I got pictures that were separated. I want to make it very clear. I do not know 100% if he was there with Vince. I have not got that confirmed yet. If he was, and I know he's been very Undertaker's one of those guys that will do what Undertaker wants to do. In his podcast, he says a lot of things. I like the fact that he's truthful and he's honest. And I've always, he was the godfather of the locker room. It began and it ended with The Undertaker. If there was an issue, you go to The Undertaker, unquestioned leader. And so maybe he believes, hey, listen, I am late 50s. I've made my money. WWE is still paying him a ton of money, millions, in fact, to do his role. I wonder if he got a call, if he's there with Vince, from anybody at TKO, because you know how business people are. They overthink everything. And they're like, oh, if this happens, then B happens, then C happens. And I wonder if anybody at TKO or WWE or UFC had an issue if he did go with Vince of Taker hanging out with Vince McMahon.
Gosh, that's really interesting, coach, because, coach, we've got to go back to when all these allegations first came out.
Mm-hmm.
Remember, coach, almost immediately following that, John Cena went out to dinner with
Correct.
Vince.
Yep.
And Cena, obviously, Cena has much more of a reach than Taker because of Hollywood, and he's a movie star. So he has a much, much bigger audience than Taker. But yet, Cena put everything on the line and went out there in public and was seen with Vince. I don't know. Listen, nobody's going to tell the Undertaker what to do one way or another. I mean, whether you like it or not, they're not going to tell him, hey, man, we'd really rather not see you hanging around with Vince McMahon. So that's not going to happen anyway. But the whole thing to me, coach, just very, very, very interesting. Mm-hmm. The timing of it all.
Yes.
Like you said, to make your first public appearance in front of how many thousand people were there last night?
Well, 80,000, but the TV audience or the social media audience, if I'm getting pictures from people that were there, those are going up on social media instantly. So I don't care about the TV audience. The social media audience is much bigger. Much bigger. So that had to be calculated. I will give Vince credit for this. That it would have been very easy for him at 79, almost 80 years of age, to stay in his multi-million-dollar penthouse, work out at his private gym, sit on the $5 billion until his life was over. But we both know that's not how Vince is wired. That's not how Vince is made. That's not how Vince wants to go out, so to speak. So to me, the calculated part of this is I'm going to go test the waters at a big event when the president of the United States is there, when the biggest star in music, Taylor Swift, is also there, and a lot of big celebrities. And let's see how it goes. And I know I was doing my show earlier today. There hasn't been a big outcry that I've seen that the fact that he was there. So maybe it was a win. And maybe sometimes we overestimate how much people actually care about a certain subject as well.
Yeah. Well, coach, there's another way to look at this too, which is very, very, very interesting. A couple of months ago, we got a glimpse of Vince, And remember, he wasn't walking well. He needed help walking. And again, man, I know I'm kidding around, but bro, he had this ridiculous looking mustache and this dye job. He looked horrible. So knowing that was out there, is this the opportunity for Vince to make the grand reappearance in front of the entire world? My surgery is behind me. I got rid of the Gomez Adams mustache and the very bad dye job. I am here. I am back. And the real Vince McMahon is front and center. Bro, we know the dude's got an ego. We know how much he must have hated those other photos leaking out, Coach, where he looked frail and he looked like a shadow of himself. This was definitely a different looking Vince McMahon, and Vince does not do anything if it's not by design.
And let's remember, during the documentary on Netflix, they asked him if he would ever quit or ever, and he was like, no, until the day I die. Basically, I'm going to continue to be out there. That's how he feels, and it's had to destroy him to watch the biggest TV deal of all time, or Netflix, whatever you're streaming, and watch his company grow financially, which he used to love. I was there for 3 of these big announcements, and he loved it, man. He walked around like a peacock, and he was like, man, I just got 200 million. Man, I just got 500 million. Now it's $5 billion. He was not a part of it. Now, speaking of $500 million, I've been seeing a lot, and somebody in the chat said it too. Tony Khan was there, and I don't know if you saw this, but him and his dad, they took their yacht and docked it in New Orleans, and it's worth $300 million. Now, Vince, Shane, and Taker, they had much better seats than Tony Khan had at the Super Bowl, and his dad's an owner of an NFL team. So I don't know how Vince got those tickets, but Tony Khan was posting pictures, and he was way up top, not down below where those 3 were at. And I just thought, you know what, as much as we tease about Tony Khan, at the end of the day, Vince, I would let you, producer man, all my friends, everybody, tease me for the rest of my life as I was living my ass on a $300 million yacht, and my dad was worth $13 billion. That thing was one of the sickest things I've ever seen. Ever.
Oh yeah, and I looked up, when I saw the pictures, man. If anybody wants to, just Google it. What is on that yacht is absolutely ridiculous, Coach.
If you can imagine it being on something, whether it's in a house, in a building, whatever, it's on that boat. It is on that boat, and a full staff, absolutely sick. Absolutely sick. All right, let's move on. This is the Coach and Bro Show. We are live every single Monday and Thursday at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. You can also catch us on demand on our BTT Behind the Turnbuckle YouTube page, or if you want the audio, it's always posted with our partners over at Believe. Our presenting sponsor, of course, is Mando. You can go to them, shopmando.com, or at shopmando on Twitter. Use the promo code EXPLODES and get $5 off your starter pack, and I promise you, you will continue to buy Mando because it makes your entire body, head to toe, not just where you think, but your head to toe smell like $1 million. There you see it on the bottom right hand of your screen. All right, so I feel like maybe we got worked a little bit, Vince. Last week after the Royal Rumble, word came out, reports, of course, from dirt sheets, that Drew McIntyre left the event pissed off, that somebody had gone into business for himself, and it came out that perhaps that person was L.A. Knight. So this week, what happened? Well, Drew McIntyre, after the trade window, by the way, which means that meant nothing, he got signed to SmackDown with his old buddy Nick Aldis, a nice little backstage skit. And now McIntyre's come over, and what do? This is something Vince used to do all the time. If you have a real life issue, put it into the show. You used to do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And so him and L.A. Knight did a little thing. L.A. Knight threw in a little, hey, maybe I'll go into business for myself. Do you think we got worked on the whole thing?
Yeah, I do because they've created stories like this before about Drew. And again, Coach, you and I talked about Drew right now has the bulletproof label where we can beat him, we can beat him, we can beat him, put a microphone in his hand the next day, and it's not going to matter. So that's what they're doing, man. They're beating him, they're beating him, they're beating him, but then they need to do something on the other side of that to keep you interested in Drew. And Coach, you and I both know, I mean, you knew him. I interviewed him. This is the nicest guy,
Oh, of all time.
that they're
Of all
this
time.
is a guy that has showed time and time again he will do business. This is a veteran in the locker room. He's not going to carry on like some indie worker in the back because somebody went into business for themselves. That to me just doesn't seem like Drew McIntyre, Coach.
If you have a true wrestling mind, by the way, shout out to my numbers guy, Raphael, back from the Super Bowl. Thank you very much, part of the BTT universe. If you have a wrestling mind and you're smart, and this is something that I try to take away good things from my relationship with Vince to use running my brands here or in any job that I have, and that is turn something into money, make it revenue generating. And if that story's out there, whether it's a work or whether it's true, Drew McIntyre is the type of guy who just signed a $5 million, or excuse me, 5 year deal that I'm sure is probably in that $3 to $5 million range, that he understands I've got to continue to be on TV. I can't have this big paycheck and not be on TV. So what do, Vince? Well, you lean into whatever the biggest storyline is about what you are doing right now. And if it's not going after the bloodline, if it's not doing this, this would be it. This also helps LA Knight because LA Knight's been complaining for a couple of years that they're not using him and he's a poor man's Rock. This gets him away from the Rock. And I'm sure they talked it out and said, listen, let's make money off of this. And that's exactly what you do.
I agree with you 100%, but again, Coach, I just let's see where they go with it.
Yep.
Because just based on the creator for the last couple of years, man, it's start and stop, start and stop. So I'm like, okay, guys, let's see where you go with this.
Okay. Now, speaking of making money, and here at the Coach and Bro Show, most of the time we talk about wrestling, but sometimes it's wrestling adjacent as well. And we know that tonight on Monday Night Raw, Logan Paul is advertised again in an elimination chamber match, and I believe he will win because I think in a contraption like that, he can do some crazy, crazy things coming up. So just for that reason, I would pick him to win. But both Paul brothers, Vince, are in the news. And you talk about making money and losing money. Jake Paul last Wednesday or Thursday, I was getting ready for my golf event, and I see breaking news in the middle of the night. He was going to fight Canelo Alvarez, arguably the biggest name in boxing. And it was going to be on Netflix after the deal he just did with Mike Tyson. And this would have really shocked the combat sports world because he's never fought a real fighter other than Mike Tyson, who was 60. And in the middle of the night, Turkey Ali Sheik, from where? The place where WWE and Vince called home and where all the big fights happen, Saudi Arabia made a phone call. And when you think about how long does a deal take to get done, remember this story. Middle of the night, by the morning, he had a 4-fight deal done with Canelo Alvarez. Jake Paul is pissed. Canelo will fight May 3rd, the date he was supposed to fight Jake Paul. And then the really big moneymaker, Terrence Crawford, in September, a fight we never thought we would see. Both guys will probably make Vince $30 to $60 million. But this is about Jake Paul as well. He's going to lose $30 to $60 million because everybody would have tuned in for that fight just to see what would have happened. Don't you agree?
Yeah, no, I definitely do agree. But, hey, listen, man, business is business. And the Saudis moved in and they made the deal happen.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, listen, man, Jake Paul's not hurting for money. and I'm sure, Coach, there's a measly $25 million payday hanging around for Jake Paul against somebody else, man.
There was some promotion maybe a couple weeks ago, and this is what they do because they're both Logan Paul and Jake Paul are big YouTube stars. That's how they became stars.
Yep.
And they put out, it looked like a very professional poster that it was going to be brother versus brother, March 27th on whatever platform it is. And the platform, Vince, is very, very key because Netflix is paying a lot of money, obviously, to get WWE, to get the NFL, and it's not a pay-per-view platform, although you do have to pay for it. But I never thought that those brothers were going to fight each other because who's going to pay for that? We know they're not going to hit each other really, really hard. It might be like the Seth Rollins kind of punches. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know
Mammy Pammy.
exactly what you mean, and I cannot see like Netflix going down that road again after the Tyson fiasco.
Mm-hmm.
I
Mm-hmm.
can't. My gosh, I mean, I can't imagine them making that same mistake twice in a row.
Now, if it was Canelo,
Hmm.
then I could understand that.
Right, I
Canelo
agree.
has been a boxer that the last several years has kind of bounced around to different promoters because he still believes he's a big pay-per-view draw. The entire business has changed, Vince, and Netflix is part of the reason for that. You remember it used to be the pay-per-view world. I spent every Friday, every 4 weeks drilling pay-per-views into everybody's head. Now we've got to change how we think about this kind of stuff. And whether it's the Zone pay-per-view, ESPN Plus pay-per-view, it's still out there. But Vince, you got to be convinced that these guys are going to sell pay-per-view if it's going to be on a pay-per-view platform, or then you go to Netflix and you got to
I
figure out
agree.
which one works.
Coach, I go back to closed circuit, man. I remember. I swear I can remember, and I believe it was 73. Coach, I'm not sure. I remember the first Ali Frazier, Madison Square Garden, man,
Wow.
closed circuit television. That's where WrestleMania began. And when you look at where that has gone over the years, man, it is absolutely incredible. I remember, Coach, after the first WrestleMania, you couldn't get results anywhere. Like the WrestleMania was on a Sunday.
Yep.
If you didn't go to closed circuit, you had to wait till the next televised show on WWE, and it usually wasn't until Saturday. So you literally WrestleMania happened. You had to wait 6 days to get the results.
But Vince, you're from the East Coast. Imagine where I came from, Kansas. We had 3 channels. This is a true story. I turned on the evening news. I was what, 8, 9 maybe? I turned on the evening news thinking they're going to tell me who won, Mr. T, Hulk Hogan, or Rowdy Roddy Piper and Mr.
Right.
Wonderful Paul Orndorff. And I get nothing. And I remember saying to my parents, what's going on here? Where are my highlights?
Is
Where
that
are my
crazy?
highlights?
Is that crazy?
Now, listen, I got to tell you a story. And let me preface this with I don't know if this is true. But what I do know is true about the story, Vince, is Hulk Hogan told me the story to my face. Now, he could have been lying to me. Very possible. Here's what he told me about that day for WrestleMania 1. So it was in New York City, closed circuit around the country,
Mhm.
and it was Mr. T. Now, everybody knows that Vince McMahon he was still living in a trailer at the time,
Mhm.
put everything he had in. It was all chips are into the middle of the table. And so Hogan, and the reason I believe this is because we've seen what he has done the last 30 or 40 years, and this is so on brand for him. He claimed, and we were like sitting around in the pre-tapes room, backstage at some random thing, and he was telling us about this, that he held Vince up for anywhere from $250 to $500,000 the day of the event, or they were not going to show up. An additional on top of what Vince was going to pay them anyway. Now, the event went off. So if this is true, then Vince had to find an extra several $100,000 to give to Hogan and Mr. T that day. And living in New York, there's really kind of only one way you can do that.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
do you think that's a true story?
Well, Coach, this is the same man that just said 11 billion people watched his. I mean, so Coach, we kind of got to take that with a grain of
That
salt.
that's
You know what I
that's
mean?
how I don't think it
11
was
billion.
true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think it was true, no, because you're right when you say there's only one place Vince would have been able to get that money, and I don't even know if in that circumstance you can get the money that quickly.
I know.
I'm sure, coach, there's got to be sit downs. We gotta check the toilet in the back room to see if there's a gun attached to it. I'm sure there's a lot that goes into borrowing that kind of money. You know what I mean?
No doubt about it.
Yeah.
But I also I remember I've thought about this because this was many, many years ago. And I've thought about this story many times from both perspectives. And people talk about betting and being a gambler as always like gambling on games. That would have been the ultimate gamble because if you don't make the money that
Oh
he
God,
made
he's
and it
done.
was then we know what happens then
Yeah,
when you owe somebody $500,000
yeah.
and their
The
name is not
old the
a
old
bank.
cement shoes. The old cement shoes, coach.
Yeah, exactly. So,
Coach, you know what I always said about holding people up? Because
yeah.
obviously during my time there was the infamous Double J story with holding Vince McMahon up.
Oh, sure.
You know what I have always said, coach, and this is where like the wrestlers just are not smart. I mean, coach, since the days of Jesse Ventura, we've been hearing about a union in professional wrestling. We've been hearing about a union. Jesse had everything going, and then Hulk stooged them off. Do you know how many times I've said, coach, could you imagine hours before a WrestleMania and the entire roster saying, none of us are going to perform tonight unless A, B, C, D, and E happens? They have so much power and so much stroke to make anything they want happen the day of a WrestleMania, and they don't even they don't even understand that. Can you imagine? None of us are going out there. None of us are performing until like that they get every single thing they want.
It would be an incredible story first and foremost. But you know this because wrestlers are paranoid and they're all like, where's my next check coming from? That's how they think. Even if they're under contract for several years, the way they start out is you get booked in the indies show by show by show. And I think wrestlers are the most paranoid group of people that
Oh
I've
yeah.
ever met in my life.
Yeah.
In my life
Yeah.
because of that. That would be amazing.
Yeah.
That would be absolutely amazing. And I think now though because back in the day people don't understand Vince did not even deal with agents. Now,
Yeah.
Cena, Roman Reigns, almost all these guys have agents. Most of them do, have agents for their Hollywood work and their movies and TV shows. But the reason Vince didn't deal with agents back then is because he knew he had the power over the talent.
Right.
And he knew
Exactly.
they've told the talent, you know what? And I've seen some of Rock's interviews where he's like, Vince, I want this. And Vince said, well, come back. We'll talk about this. That he saved a ton of money by doing it that way and ruling by intimidation
Absolutely.
instead of being fair. In
Yes. Yeah.
in the world of TV, I haven't had an agent in a while because I know where I should be working. I can negotiate it myself. But I always did have an agent when I went to ESPN, all the different networks, because that's kind of what you do.
Yeah.
But now it's a little bit different, but I do agree with you. They would have a lot of power,
Coach, do
Vince.
you know there's an infamous story, and this is an absolutely true story, and I can't remember who the player was, but when the Oakland A's had their run in the early 70s and Charles Finley was the owner of the A's.
Mm-hmm.
The A's were about to go into the World Series, and one of the most popular players on the team was not put on the World Series roster. And every A player, I'm talking from, Reggie to Catfish Hunter to Rudy to Sal Bando, all of the stars on the team said, we will not play one game in this World Series until you put him on the roster.
Wow, I never heard that.
And Finley had to put him on the roster, or else they weren't going to play. And
I love that.
they were dead serious about it unless he put the player back on the roster.
Wow. I
Yeah,
love that too.
I did too.
That
I
is
love that. Love it.
dedication to your teammates. To me, I love team sports.
Yeah.
I really do. There's a lot of positives that I take out of my time in the WWE. We've talked about what we didn't like and the family stuff, but when it comes to performing, Vince, I can tell you from a performance perspective, I loved collaborating, sitting around talking about writing promos. That's what I love the most. I mean, that's part of the reason you wanted to ultimately, when you started your career, why you wanted to go to the WWE. It's that fun, the creation. I
Right.
still enjoy creating. Like I've told you this many times off camera. I enjoy this show probably as much as anything that I get to do because it's creative, but also you stimulate my mind to make me think. And at this age, after all of these years, I need the mind
I'm with you,
stimulation.
coach.
You know,
Absolutely.
I absolutely
Absolutely.
love this.
Yeah. Yeah.
Love this.
Yeah.
Love this. All right. You are watching the Coach and Bro Show. By the way, if you want to be a part of it, you want to be heard, you can do that through a super sticker, and we will read it right from the jump or through a donation to the show. Also, shout out to our brand new sponsor this month, Mando at shopmando.com. Use that promo code EXPLODES and get $5 off your starter pack, which is the equivalent of 40% off. I have my starter pack. Vince has his starter pack. And I'm telling you, no kidding aside, I don't care how much they're paying us. I love this stuff. It smells freaking amazing. All right, another topic. And Vince, your head is going to explode on this one. Absolutely explode. So, I've always been a big MJF fan. I have said for months and years that when he can, he will be a gigantic WWE superstar. But for some reason, the last year or so, he's kind of fallen off a cliff. And a lot of his promos get very personal, and you're like, really kind of cringy almost. And so apparently now he's gotten into a Twitter beef with one of my favorite WWE referees of all time, Jimmy Corderas, who now has a podcast. A great dude, really smart wrestling mind. And MJF, once again, in his feud with Dustin Rhodes, brought up Cody Rhodes. And Jimmy said, why can't you be creative enough? I'm paraphrasing here, and insult Dustin, have that rivalry without always bringing up the biggest name from the WWE. And you see it on the screen right now. Do you agree or disagree with Jimmy Corderas that a huge star in AEW should not be constantly referring to a big star that's now in the WWE?
Coach, I got to tell you, first of all, Jimmy Corderas is a freaking sweetheart, man. One of the nicest people you will ever, soft-spoken man, respectful, just such a great, great, great dude. However, Coach, my rule of thumb was always this, but MJF didn't do it this way. So I'm kind of on Jimmy's side, but I kind of can see the other way too. Here's my rule of thumb, because you got to remember, Coach, it was on my dime that we drove a rocket launcher up to the back door at the WCW building.
One of the greatest scenes of all time, by the way.
Thank you. Coach, I am a firm believer in this. When you are in second place, you throw the kitchen sink at first place, because you want them to acknowledge you in any way, shape, or form. That's the thing. You want them to acknowledge you. If they acknowledge you publicly, better yet. However, if you're number one, then you don't, number two doesn't even exist. You never, ever, ever talk about the competition if you're number one. But number two, man, throw the kitchen sink at them. I've always believed that.
You know what? This is why I literally just said this 5 seconds ago on the show. This is why I like listening. And one of the best things you can do, instead of just arguing, especially wrestling fans, hear me here. Listen to the person that you're talking to, because I was all set to say, yep, Jimmy's right. Yep. But when I think about it from that aspect, and you're the underdog and you're coming from the bottom up, you've got to have people talking about you. You got to have people, especially when they now have 4 shows to your 1 or 2, and you are the biggest name. And MJF, I still believe he has a gigantic upside. I don't know what's happened, and I don't know if he's just been willing to do whatever. I'm a gigantic fan of his. And now that you put it that way, I think I've got to take a step back a little bit and say you're probably right. You do what you have to do. And right now, nothing else has worked. So maybe you try this.
Yeah. Coach, the whole idea of doing that assault on WCW, the whole idea was, if nothing else, we wanted to get people to say, oh my God, I can't believe they did that. I can't believe they just did that. Because now you tune in to see what they're going to do next. And that worked. So I am all for, man, going after that top dog, man. Take the gloves off and go for it, man.
Now I'm starting to think back to the rocket launcher thing that you did. I was there the night that Vince bought the WCW for $2 million. It's kind of how, back in the day UFC was only worth $2 million, and all the stuff he does, the invasion angle, and if it's done right, people at home, and this is why I severely disagree with people say, "Oh, coach, everybody knows it's a work." Oh, coach, because if it's done right, I was there and I was in the company and I knew that it was a work, and I still thought, is this real? Are these guys really going to get attacked because they came up to the back door of the hen house and tried to get in? And I knew that it was a work. And so to me, that's still the beauty. When I watch a movie, I go, oh, 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 oh. And if you can get creative enough, Vince, to do something like that or some of the other invasion angles, when WWE, if you watch the documentary, was starting to slip, and Eric Bischoff and them, they were in 83 weeks in number one, you were number two. So you did that stuff to get people talking, correct?
Coach, I don't know exactly what you mean about a work.
No,
That rocket launcher was a
no, no. I'm
100.
I'm saying that I already knew Vince had bought WCW. I knew that Shane
Oh, okay,
showing
I
up.
got it. Yeah,
Yeah, that's what
yeah,
I'm saying.
because that rocket launcher was 100% shoot. We had no idea what they were going to do. We had no idea.
Explain that. Explain
Oh
that.
no, bro. Bro. Here's the funniest thing, Coach. This is why you're blessed to work with the WWE, because as a writer, there is nothing they couldn't pull off. And Coach, I remember writing that script, and for shits and giggles, I write in the Generation X drives a rocket launcher up to the W. I write it as a joke. Kevin Dunn calls me the next day. Vince, we got your rocket launcher. I wrote it as a joke. So, bro, that whole scene, Coach, was a 100% shoot. And here's where Bischoff messed up, because we were trying to play out all the what ifs. Like, what if they open up the door and allow us in? And here's where Bischoff messed up. If they opened up the door and allowed us in, Coach, we were not allowed to film because we were in their building. They were allowed to film. So if we showed up, they could have shot whatever they wanted and used that footage. We couldn't have. We didn't have the right to it. So like, we were really hoping, oh my God, I hope he doesn't open that door, because they'll be able to take advantage of it from that point on. But how it turned out, bro, was somebody smartened Bischoff up that we were coming. And you know those big garage doors?
100%.
Bischoff ordered that they shut the door. If he would have left that door open, they had every right to film everything that we did.
That is one of the craziest stories that I had no clue about until this very moment.
Yeah.
Until this very moment.
Yeah.
Boy, only in wrestling, which is why I say I loved 90% of my time in the W. That's crazy.
Crazy.
And we're talking about crazy wrestlers who, but also when you look at it from both sides, people need to understand we all have friends in both companies. And so if you left, and they had a lot of guys that had come from WWE that took really big money deals, but who knows if they would have gone to blows or come to, really fought at that. But that's one of the most iconic scenes in the history of wrestling.
Yeah.
Period. In the story.
100%
the other side,
unscripted. 100%.
The other, I don't know why this just popped into my head, but I think that you inspired a lot of other stunts like that. and I'll never forget. You may never have heard this, but they had a stunt, and it was on SmackDown. It was, SmackDown was taped on a Tuesday. When Stone Cold got hurt and he really couldn't wrestle anymore, they still wanted him as part of the show. So there was a show where they were going to have him in one of those things in the back, and there was a bus, and all the McMahons were in the ring, and all of a sudden Stone Cold would come up on the screen in a one of those machines where you drop a big wrecking ball or one of those things on top, and it was supposed to explode the bus. Vince, by the time it aired on Thursday, it was McMahon's in the ring. Oh no, there's Stone Cold. Boom, drop, bus explodes. What really happened was they tried it, I'm guessing, because I was there live, no less than 30 times to blow the bus up. It didn't work. And poor Vince, Shane, Stephanie in the ring, it was like, what do they say, a fart in church?
Yeah.
It was the crowd's just berating them. This sucks. This stupid. And poor Stone Cold's out there at the wheel or at the controls, and they had to substitute a person who really knew how to do it, and then cut back to Stone Cold drop. It was an absolute shit show.
Oh, he must have, yeah, and he was such a perfectionist. He must have He must have hated that. Hey, Coach, I don't know what the last topic is on your agenda. What was it?
This one.
Okay, cool. We got to throw this out there.
Okay, what are we throwing out there?
This blows my mind, Coach. This blows my mind. There were 10 cuts over the weekend in the WWE.
Oh yeah, I saw them. Yes.
And Coach, it's like every person they cut, when they made their debut on WWE television, Coach, I sat there and said, this person's never going to get over. This person's never going to get over. This person's never going to get over. And here we are months later, and all of those people are released. Coach, I do not understand the bringing the people into the what do they call that training center there?
Down there at NXT. Oh my gosh, they just moved it to Vegas, by the way. Oh my God,
the training center, whatever.
Yeah,
I cannot understand the process of signing those people in, bringing them in, spending a crap load of money training them, the time, the energy, the commitment, years of training them, then putting them on TV. Then you realize they're never going to get over. Those people should never get signed in the first place. I don't understand this process. If we looked at, Coach, how many people the WWE has let go from their system, we have wasted millions and millions and millions of dollars. I don't understand this, how they're choosing these people, training these people for years. Then we put them on TV and we find out they're never going to get over, rather than realizing that before you ever sign them. Coach, this is the one thing about wrestling that drives me crazy. Crazy. There's no accountability, Coach. There is no accountability. When there has been so many, swings and misses at NXT, and nobody is held accountable for that, but yet it keeps happening over and over and over. Bro, I swear that drives me nuts, because that is clearly telling you someone is not doing their job. I mean, come on. If you're in professional sports, Coach, you're in professional sports. Okay?
Correct.
That's what you do.
Yep.
If scouts keep signing players that never amount to anything, they're gone. They're gone. How many people do we have to see go through that system, make it to the main stage, and then let go, and nobody's held responsible for it?
All right, so there's a couple things to unpack here. First of all, it's called the Performance Center. So thanks to the chat for it's the Performance Center is what
Performance
they
Center.
have down
Thank
there.
you, Coach.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you.
I just actually looked up the group of talent that you're talking about. The one that surprises me a little bit is Sonya Deville, but she's part of the worst named group in the history of
Oh,
named groups. So,
horrible.
so AOP's gone. Paul Ellering was their manager. He's gone. Cedric Alexander, part of 205. Blair Davenport, don't know who that is. Isla Dawn, sort of. Giovanni Vinci, the Good Brothers, Carl Anderson and Luke Gallows. They've kind of come and gone a couple of different times. So, first and foremost, the chat agrees with you. I agree with you. And we've said it all the time. They don't have enough stars for the amount of programming that they have. But, Vince, let me ask you a question. Maybe we'll play a game of one word. New game we're playing on Coaching Company. Whose idea is it for NXT? Who created NXT?
Well, when you say NXT, my mind immediately goes to Triple H.
It was his baby.
Right.
And when Vince was in charge, he almost refused to bring that talent up to the main roster because that was not his idea. Okay? So Triple H has made NXT his baby so much to the fact that they, on pay-per-view weekends, they will add an NXT show at a special event, whatever. Do you know who's running NXT now?
Yeah, his boy, Shawn Michaels.
Shawn Michaels, right? So, to your point that I've agreed with for months, that if TKO is looking for a way to get rid of him and they're all about the dollars and cents, that is a cash funnel outside going the other way because they're all about training. And then you're going to announce a new show called Evolve, which is not even talent at the NXT level, Vince. So they're going to take it a step further. Who do you think idea was Evolve?
Triple H.
Triple H. So now he's pushed all of his chips into the middle of the table. And understand this, ladies and gentlemen watching right now, there are levels to this game. You can't become a star just because they call you a WWE superstar. And this is why when you go, oh, they dropped this person, you really got to step back and listen to what Vince just said. Is this person going to be missed? If Cody Rhodes walked out the door, yes, Cody Rhodes is going to be missed. He is a star. If no offense, Giovanni Vinci, do you think we'll ever hear that name again? It's the harsh reality, Vince, of this business. And I've been saying it for years and years and years. There's a reason they put money behind me when I was there, because people cared when I walked out. Whether you want to believe that or not, they did. This is a harsh reality, Vince, and you're absolutely
Coach,
right.
I'm going to steal a line from my good friend Dutch Mantell. Dutch Mantell always used to use the term good little hand. Mm-hmm. There's a lot of good little hands in wrestling. Coach, on major league teams, the big four, hockey, basketball, football, baseball, there's no good little hands, bro.
Nope.
There's no good little hands. Even if you're a utility player, you are a star. Even if you're the fifth starter, you are a star. You're not making the team because you fill a void and you're a good little hand. Bro, more than 50% of their roster are good little hands. It blows my mind, Coach. Nobody's held responsible for that.
Well, they're going to have to start because Vince, 5 months ago, and I brought this up here on Coach and Bro, and I don't know his name, but he's the COO of TKO.
The following announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus, the new pod order. BTT Plus. Yeah, it's a tough job, but somebody's got to do it. Plus. Oh, it's extra content right here, chicos. Think about it. BTT Plus, taking over the pod game. Live Q&As, watch-alongs, new shows. BT, is that okay, Plus. Big Tommy? Enter the war room, turnbuckle style. Plus, it's the new way. We call it BTT Plus. The genesis has begun. The beginning of the new pod or BTT. Everybody wants to know what to do next. Well, just scan the code. The Pod Revolution BTT starts now. The preceding announcement has been paid for by Behind the Turnbuckle Plus. New Pod Order.
Oh, it feels so good on a Monday night. What's good, everybody? Welcome into your new favorite pro wrestling show, and maybe a little bit of other stuff as well. As you can see, your boy, the coach, is not in the friendly confines. No, we're out on the road, but that doesn't mean we stop. No, we are live right here on Stadium every single Monday night. And by the way, for those of you who've been watching on our YouTube page, are you kidding me right now? Our live number is absolutely ridiculous. So no matter where you watch us, we're glad that you are here. Now, if you want to be a part of the show, in the chat, you can do via a super sticker. And we're also pleased to say that tonight's show is brought to you by Deemer Box. Go to deemerbox.com. Use that code COACH10. It's the most rugged outdoor speaker you could possibly have. Deemerbox.com. Thank you for being a part of the show. Now, as always, I don't do this by myself. We're talking an hour here live on Stadium. So let's bring in my co-stars. First and foremost, he has spent 32 years in the WWE, and he is fired up tonight. Big Tommy C. What's good, man?
What's happening, Coach? What's happening, Gabby? And it's a little hot in here tonight, Coach, if you know what I mean.
Oh, that is the theme of the show. But Tommy, before we get to the show, sometimes we get busy. I got to make sure I sit up here. I don't want you guys to be in your boxes without mine. And so I've been really busy. I was doing a big PGA Tour event this weekend. There was a little thing called the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And so I got kind of busy. I didn't really know what was going on. Did you happen to see anything unusual on social media tonight by anybody that's a permanent fixture of this show that maybe we could have used, perhaps? Tommy, did you see anything?
Yeah. Are you talking about Brandon Graham?
Yeah, Brandon. That's right, Brandon Graham. If people don't know who Brandon Graham is, we'll fill them in the C's.
Oh.
But for now, let's introduce her. She's the host of the Gabby AF podcast, and she had a guest on today. Gabby, good evening. Thanks for making time for little old us. How are you this evening?
Listen, Coach, I'll always make time for you, especially Tommy. Tommy's my favorite of all time, so I always squeeze time in for Tommy. Yeah, it was. I know you were busy. I know, great Super Bowl for me, not so great for you. So it's a little hot.
That's okay. You're allowed to have one. You're allowed to have one. I still got 3 in my back pocket from the last
Annihilation,
5 years, so
annihilation, man.
Is that where you're going to stand on?
Pretty sad. It was pretty sad.
We already beat you 2 years ago, so we're not going to compare numbers.
But the past is the past, bro. Past is the past. Just saying, you can only move forward in life.
Apparently so. And you're talking to one of the great heels of all time, right,
Yes,
Tommy?
sir.
And it's almost as if you were talking to a great heel tonight. But we'll get into that, and you can promote it yourself. But I want to talk about the theme of the show. The theme of the show tonight is heat, heat, heat. Clearly, the WWE creative guys, they're using some of what I call their natural heels to get over. And I'm telling you right now, I know a lot of the OGs don't like it, but Logan Paul, and Logan Paul. And I'm going to start with you, Gabby, because tonight he was in the main event. He beat Mr. 619 to cash his ticket to the Elimination Chamber. And the reason people don't like him, because in my time, during my era, you didn't miss any shows. Part-timers, Vince would never even allow that. Are you kidding me right now? And then Logan Paul, every time he steps on camera, he's an absolute rock star. Tonight, he got all kinds of heat. Your take on Mr. Logan Paul?
Dude, I've been saying this. He is a star beyond star, and he makes people so angry because he should not be as good as he is. He's good on the mic. He's good in charisma-wise. He's so good in the ring. He has it on every aspect. And I was thinking this because I was watching a little bit of the Rumble, and I had remembered, a little bit of a moment between him and Cena. Give me Logan Paul and Cena at WrestleMania, and I will watch it and be happy to watch it, especially if Punk's going to win the Chamber. I'm just thinking ahead that way.
Boy, you're always thinking ahead. By the way, shout out to producer man. Did you guys see the shot with Gabby on her one shot? We have the best producer in the game. I'll put him up against anybody. Dan, the best producer in the game. Big Tommy, let me come over to you because it's so funny because you were with me during the Attitude Era, and Logan Paul wouldn't have existed back then. He would have. Vince would have been like, "What, a YouTube guy? What, this guy? What are we doing? Dating a movie? What are we doing?" And not only is he great, but Hurricane Helms told us right here on BTT, didn't he? He said nobody works harder than Logan Paul. And tonight, he cuts a great promo. He gets the rub from CM Punk. Then he wins the match. And then he says, "Hey, how could I be this good looking? I felt like it was me cutting a promo out there." Your take?
Dude, this guy has it all, coach. He came in the ring. He embarrassed Punk a little bit there, right? Then he's in the ring. Ray comes in. He grounds and pounds with Ray. He high flies with Ray. And he is just an unbelievable athlete and superstar. And he brings instant heat. I'm telling you, coach, if he stays full time, I'm putting him, and listen to this, everybody, on the level of Shawn Michaels. That's how good this guy could be. That's how great this guy could be right now. There is nobody like Logan Paul, and I love him being in the Elimination Chamber. It is going to be exciting to see the things that he's going to do in that ring because he will sacrifice his body to put on a show for everybody.
The one thing that he has that literally nobody else has, Gabby. He had a already built-in audience before he came to the WWE. He had a gazillion followers, and he said that tonight. He goes, "I was already famous before I got here. I was already rich before I got here." That's why he has the natural heat, because normal people are like, "Damn it, I don't want to like him." But everything he says is absolutely true. So that's what a cool heel is truly all about.
Yeah, and I mean, it's funny because a lot of people sometimes have the audience, and because they have that to fall back on, they don't think they have to work hard, or they don't think that they have to be good because they're like, people are going to like me anyway. But he is good, and he does work hard, and even wrestlers have talked about it and said he is someone that he's liked in the locker room. He works his ass off. So if the wrestlers accept him, you kind of have to accept that as an audience, and he's around to stay, and he's going to be hated for a very long time, but in the best way possible. You love to hate him. He's that guy that you just love to hate.
I wonder what the number is, Tommy, that they would have to throw at Logan Paul to get him to work full time. Like, what would they have if they went to Logan and said, "Logan, man, we need," and they do need him. We have way too many multi-segment matches. Stop telling me we have enough talent. Stop it. They just dropped 10 people that I don't even remember who they are, and they were dropped yesterday. So don't tell me we have enough talent. What do you think the number would be they'd have to pay him to get him to work 40-plus weeks a year?
Wow. Over 5 million, maybe? I'm not sure. This guy, coach, I'm telling you, man, I'm putting him up there with Cody, Roman, everybody if he stood full time. I got to tell you, man, he's got more gas than Jey Uso does for me. I got to tell you that. And he's hated right now. I would love to see Jey get to that level where Logan is right now. I just don't see it. I don't see it.
Well, he can't cut the promo. And Tommy, that's kind of where we were going, because I literally, on Netflix, Gabby, where you can go there and hit Raw and either hit last week's Raw and watch it because I thought I was watching last week's Raw at the start tonight, because here comes Jey Uso, comes down through the crowd, that little 6-year-old, let's yeet it all together. And then we get the 8 lines from Pat McAfee. Then we get Michael Cole trying to do the thing, and he's like gassing himself out, trying to talk. And then I knew Gunther was coming out. You knew he was, because I was like, there's no way that Triple H is going to start 2 weeks in a row with an 8-minute yeet session. But that's exactly what we got. It almost feels like he's scared to cut a promo. And I love Jey. He's been all over all the shows this year. I'm great. But at some point, Gabby, he's got to lean into his character and not just go, Gunther, it's you at WrestleMania. And then all of a sudden he gets his ass handed to him, and then you're leaping over the top rope onto 6 different people. Yeah. How do you have the energy for that? Your take?
Listen, I think that there's something authentic about him in the sense, even when he cut his promo after the 8 minutes last week, and Tommy, you even said, I feel like he lost his wording because he was emotional. I I am a sucker for that kind of stuff, and I'm a different kind of fan in that sense. Like, I see a grown man crying and talking about how he's been a veteran for such a long time. I'm in on him as a babyface because I love that. So I'm not totally unsold on him. Do I need a little bit more when it comes to, yes, the promo and not the same thing every week? Sure. But I see what they're trying to do, so I don't fully hate it yet, and I'm going to give it a little chance to breathe because we know his opponent. We do have a little bit of time till Mania. Make me really, really hate Gunther, and I'm going to love Jay even more. So I think it's more on Gunther than it is on Jay, in my opinion.
Wait a second. Did you just say we have a little bit of time?
A little bit.
We've got 3 freaking months
That's not that
until
fast.
WrestleMania. What are we doing between this thing's at the end of April? I mean, this is like 3 full months, and we already know one of the main events. What are we going to do, Gabby? How are you going to fill 12 Mondays with Gunther and Jay? Are we kidding ourselves right now?
I mean, they're going to do it. They've done it. You know how many times I go into a WrestleMania show or any kind of big PLE and I'm like, there's no way they're going to sell me on this. I don't like it. And they end up doing it. So I'm going to go in not pessimistic. What's the other word for pessimistic? Optimistic about it because I like Jay that much. And I think that there's wheels on this, but I think it's more on Gunther. You have to make me hate this man. And I think you can get me to that point because then it's going to be like, I want Jay to win so bad. You know what they say? It's not that I want Jay to win. I want Gunther to lose. Make me want Gunther to lose more than I need Jay to win.
I would love that, Tommy, but first I'd have to wake up in order to watch Gunther lose. You
Coach,
feel me?
You know what the problem is with these two? You know what the problem is? They're both not great promo cutters, right?
No.
Gunther's not good at it, Jay. Now you got to build a storyline. And I agree with Gabby. I think Gunther's the guy that has to perpetrate this whole thing and make it personal. So what I would do a storyline, get in Jay's personal life. Didn't he have some issues back in the day, you know, with the law and everything like that? Or maybe get into his brother Jimmy and do something to make it personal for Jay, to make him want to tear Gunther apart. Because every week these two attacking each other and they can't cut a promo in the ring, it's going to get old, tired, and boring quick.
So you think that creative is going to call Jimmy Uso? And I've seen crazier, and they go, "Hey Jimmy," because wasn't it Jimmy, not Jay, that had most of the issues?
Yes,
wasn't it?
Yes.
Okay, so. And I think Jay, his career has soared, Gabby. We got about 45 seconds for you since he's separated from Jimmy. So how do you think Jimmy would receive that phone call if Triple H called, "Hey, man, we've got an idea. Let's use your personal trials and tribulations to knock down your brother"? How do you think he would respond to that?
I mean, listen, if you want your brother to succeed and it's going to bring him to the next level, maybe he would want to do it. I don't know. I really don't know what they can do to elevate it in that sense, but I think going the personal route, like Tommy's saying, is the way to do it. Will Jimmy take the sacrifice and say yes if that was the call to be made? Possibly.
Man,
I don't know.
This is one thing, and by the way, it's crazy that Vince was at the Super Bowl last night, by the way. But I've seen Vince use crazier storylines for show purposes, let's say. I've seen him. I was there for a storyline where one superstar male and one superstar female, as female was dating another superstar male, and it got into a whole weird triangle. And Vince said, "All right, you idiots, if you're going to do this in real life, we're going to make this into a storyline." And he made them do it. And it was some of the best matches because they literally beat the living shit out of each other. It was amazing. And if you don't know, well, you don't know. Go look it up. I'm not going to use names. But
I know that one.
You're right. Waffle House and Motel 6. If you know, you know. Now, still to come here on the show. We're just getting started. It's the last word. We've got promo school. We've got Russo's rant. Also, we're going to flip the script. What does it mean that Drew McIntyre is no longer on Monday Night Raw? Ladies and gentlemen, we are here every single Monday night, and it doesn't matter if Gabby had Ric Flair on tonight. We're live still on Stadia. All right, you crazy degenerates, OGs out there that watch on our YouTube channel right now. By the way, I mentioned that Vince was at Monday Night Raw at the Super Bowl last night. First public appearance in months. And he was with his son, Shane. And apparently, with The Undertaker, Gabby, did it surprise you that at the biggest event in the world, that's when Vince would decide to come out, wear a blouse, and just show he's been in the gym for the last 6 months looking good for 80 years old?
Honestly, nothing surprises me when it comes to pro wrestling anymore, coach. So absolutely not. And I think he was the guy that brought the good luck to the Eagles, probably. I think he brought it.
You make one more comment about the Eagles. There's Vince right here. One more comment about the Eagles, Vince, or excuse me, Tommy. All of a sudden, this show is going to turn into the War Room, just me and you. It's going to be a 2-person show in about 30 seconds. All right, there's the Undertaker. Who, Tommy? Did it shock you that Vince was in attendance with the millions watching around the world?
There is a method to his madness, coach, as we all know. There's an angle to everything that man does. He does things for a reason. He's not the biggest football fan in the world, right? So he picks the Super Bowl of all games. He's with his boy Taker, and the big surprise is Shane, because there is like things they had heat with each other. I don't know what's going on with that, but there's a method behind his madness, and I'm not surprised that he was there last night.
Let me just say that I got a phone call in the past week and a half. I'm not going to put anything on Front Street. I'm not going to tell any of the story. I'm just saying this. I got a call, Tommy, you know what I'm talking about, from somebody who wanted to do something with me. And I was told in no uncertain terms, Shane and Vince are not speaking, because that was my rule. I said, if they are speaking, I don't want any part of it. So apparently that person who called me got caught with a little hand in the cookie jar, because you cannot hide when they're at the freaking Super Bowl in a box together. Oh, no, they didn't go together. They just happen to be in the same box. Stop it. Just stop it. Don't call me again. Don't call me again. We're back live in 5 seconds. All right, everybody, welcome back. It is the last word. We are live every single Monday night on Stadium and all of our platforms on Amazon Prime Video, DirecTV, YouTube TV, the biggest network in America, Roku TV. We're available in over 100 million homes, and I am your boy, the coach. All right, now, there are certain things about the show or stories where my crew just needs to get things off their chest. It is time that we go to promo school. Shout out to producer man. Now, who gets to go first today? Well, Tommy, you seem fired up. And I saw your face at the break when I said, do not. The person who called you, they're not watching this show anyway. And it's not like we ever get quoted on every single wrestling website. This will never get to them, Tommy. Don't even worry about it. It'll never get to them. Don't call me again. Damn it. Do not call me again. Tell you, I'm pissed about it. For me to bring, I'm pissed about it. I'm pissed about it. Don't try to work a worker. Don't try to work a worker.
No.
Doesn't talk to his dad.
Can't
Stop
that,
it.
dude.
Yeah. They didn't take the same private jet down to the Big Easy.
Are you kidding me? They were on the same plane.
Look at Gabby over there going, well, who are you talking about?
I want to know so bad. I can't wait to know the tea after.
It's good tea. It's really, really good tea.
Yeah, it really is.
All right, so this is where we cut a promo. We got Russo's rant standing by, but Tommy, I want you to start, because there's a flow that we need to go through here. So who are you cutting a promo on tonight?
My promo tonight, kiddies, is on WWE Creative and the Netflix executives. Let me think about this for a minute. Netflix, $500 million a year you're paying for Raw. Did you think you were going to get every match that you saw in the first week? No. Do you know what we saw tonight in Nashville? And I don't know how many times we told everybody we were in Nashville and we were sold out for the 84th time on Raw. Okay, I get it. But that show was horrible. You're from Nashville. You spend your hard-earned money, right? You want to see champions. We saw Rhea Ripley with her championship belt. You know where we saw her? We didn't see an entrance. We didn't see her in the ring. She was backstage with Io Sky saying, oh, we're going to have a match, not next week, but in 3 weeks. What are we doing, folks? It's crazy land. Here's another one. I don't know when's the last time I saw Braun Breaker. Oh, I saw him come out tonight with a cowboy hat backstage with AJ Styles and say one word, no entrance, no nothing. I got to tell you, man, if I'm Netflix, I'm pissed off about this. If I'm in Nashville, I spent my hard-earned money. We couldn't see Rhea Ripley, the champion, come out tonight in an entrance and do challenge Io Sky after the match was over. We couldn't see Braun Breaker come out and interrupt AJ's promo, even though Dom was there too. Now you got 3 stars out there.
Tommy,
It's just incredible the way they do things, Coach.
Tommy, I don't even know what you're talking about. I mean, it is realistic to think that a big-time champion would go to the general manager and ask for a match in a month. I mean, that happens all the time. What are you talking about? Why would Rhea Ripley go to the general manager, Adam Pearce, and go, yeah, let's give her a chance to win my title? You don't defend your title unless you're forced to defend your title as a champion. Everybody knows that. But apparently not if you're Rhea Ripley and the women's world champion. When did it become a women's world championship? It's just a women's championship. Let's stop trying to make things bigger than they are. There's 6,000 women's titles now. In fact, maybe too many. Gabby, you're sitting over there. Perhaps what are you cutting a promo on tonight?
Listen, I don't want to kick something while it's down, but this women's division needs a little bit of help because I'm watching tonight, as Tommy already quoted, we didn't even see Rhea Ripley, the champion, on TV in a match, in an entrance, nothing. She's just backstage. And then you have an elimination chamber match between Bayley and Lyra. Lyra, if you forget, because you might, because I almost did, is the WWE Women's Intercontinental Champion. So, mind you, has she defended that title yet? No. Have we seen her have any kind of feud for that title yet? No. So what does that title mean to me? Nothing. Because I haven't seen her defend it. I haven't seen her do anything with it. Oh, but okay, let's put her in an elimination chamber qualifying match versus Bayley and have her lose clean. So not only is she a champion that we forget's a champion because she's not being booked as a champion defending anything, she then loses to be in the elimination chamber. Like, they finally give Bayley a win, and it makes me angry because it doesn't make sense for the other person in the match with her. So this women's division needs a kick in the ass, if I do say so myself. Also, Rhea, like you said, 3 weeks from now, Rant's Io Sky, a championship match 3 weeks from now. That means we probably are not going to see Rhea on another PLE. We didn't see her at the Rumble doing any kind of match. We're not going to see her at Elimination Chamber doing any kind of match because, oh, we'll see you on Raw the next night. Thanks for letting me know a month in advance. I can't wait. And also, Charlotte Flair, I'm sorry. Did you just make history being the only woman to win the Royal Rumble 2 times? What the hell are you, Charlotte? I talked to your dad today on my podcast, Gabby AF. He said you and Rhea Ripley are doing the best business in pro wrestling, hands down, right now. Why are you not showing up, throwing some shit at Rhea Ripley? I don't understand it. Where are you, Charlotte? I'm looking for you. I didn't see you. I didn't see you at all tonight. I was disappointed across the board.
Gabby, there's a brand split if you didn't know. And by the way, when you're talking about Bayley, she's got to worry about the NBA celebrity game on Friday night. And then she's going to go to NXT Saturday, take a red eye to DC, and she's not going to beat Roxanne when you just beat the Intercontinental Champion on Monday Night Raw. You're not going to beat the NXT champion on Saturday. Stop it. None of it makes any sense.
Thank God Roxanne's sitting in the audience because I would have forgot. Thank God I like the waving like it's UFC. Like, we got this one in the audience. George.
Oh my God.
Hey, Coach, did you see what match we promoted for next week?
No, I didn't.
Penta versus Pete Dunne. $500 million. Paying $500 million for Penta and Pete Dunne.
After they take a red eye from the promo. All right, now Vince Russo, big part of our brand at BTT, and tonight he had to get something off his chest. It's time for Russo's rant. Roll tape, producer man.
Yeah, Coach, it's Vince Russo, and I got to tell you, man, nobody, and I mean nobody beats a dead horse like the WWE. I swear, man, I thought I was watching last week's show, another Jey Uso entrance to open up the show. How many times are we going to go to that? And let me tell you something, man. You thought I won you money by telling you Jey Uso was going to win the Royal Rumble. Double down, man, because everybody was talking about Jey Uso and Cody Rhodes for WrestleMania, and I told you the WWE doesn't have the balls to do that. What the WWE knows is predictable. So Jey Uso will defeat Gunther at WrestleMania. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Another snooze fest, bro.
Ladies and gentlemen, dressed as Grizzly Adams, he is Vince Russo. He has not shaved since the first of the year. He likes to call Gabby. What does he call it, Tommy? Not Mammy Pammy. He says something time. What is it, producer man? Help me out. When he calls it when him and the wife actually go in the same room.
Nanny time.
Yeah, nanny time. Yeah. So apparently the wife's not liking nanny time right now because of that. But he actually took my rant because tonight I love Jey Uso. We all love Jey Uso. But come on, you cannot give me 8 minutes. I counted, and the best line of it all was this: when Michael Cole, gasping for breath, who turned 60 years old today, said, quote, "When I was younger, I could yeet all night long." And Pat McAfee said, "No, you couldn't. That was drop on the ground funny." But guess what? Next week, when they open the show again, it's going to be 8 minutes of yeet, 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 yeet. I was there when The Rock came out every single Monday. It never got old. The crowd is super into it. I get that. But at some point, when you're on every single week, Vince is right. You got to change up the beginning of the show because, my goodness, I was like, can we get to it, please? Can we get to it, please? And then he goes out of the ring onto the announce table again, just like he did last week. And my God, Tommy, me and you rode with Michael Cole. He's the most white person on planet freaking Earth. So when he starts to do that slapping thing like Pat McAfee, I've had it. I've absolutely had it. And I can't believe he turned 60 today. Are you kidding me right now? 60 years old. You kidding me right now? Oh my God.
Man.
Oh my God. It blows my mind. And Gabby, we sat in those rooms, me and Tommy, when they'd go over I don't know if they do it this way anymore, but they go over the entire show that the writing staff has worked on for 6 days. And then what would Vince do?
Change it all.
Oh, wait a second. Those are actually notes for this show. What am I doing?
Man.
Yeah. But that it feels like that's what they're doing again. They're just like, you spent 6 days, Gabby, to write that? That took me about 6 seconds. Okay, Jey Uso, yeet, Gunther, all right. And then after he gets the shit kicked out of him, he gets up and goes, oh, Gunther, me and you, WrestleMania. Yeah. And all of a sudden he has just enough energy to leap over the top rope and go down on everybody. If you got beat up on the street, Gabby, would you then get up and then have all the energy in the world to attack a guy?
No, first of all, I would never get beat up because I'd win. But that's a side note. You know what I mean?
That's probably true.
Come on, you imagine? Let's be real. But no, it is. It's unreal. I was actually laughing at it. Like while I was watching it, I was like, oh, he's up. It's good. That's, by the way, my favorite thing to watch is when the guy's mad and they have the 6 referees out there trying to break it up, but they're doing nothing to actually break it up. That's my favorite thing to see. It is so entertaining to me, but it's insane. It is. It's a little crazy. And like the more you point it out, the crazier it is. I mean, 6 days for that. Maybe they made a last minute change. Or
oh my God, stop,
Coach.
I used to love how the extras that weren't allowed to dress in the locker room, they'd get so excited because somebody would walk up and go, all right, here's what you're doing tonight. You're going to be a security guard. You're going to have really big eyes. You're going to go, oh my God, where am I going? And then turn around and somebody's going to jump on you. It was like the highlight of their careers. Oh my God. And I'd go over, I'd try to be nice. Hey, listen, guys, just take it. Just take it. Grab the check on your way out. You're happy. All right, we're halfway home here on The Last Word. We're having a great time. Coming up next, we're going to flip the script. What does it mean for Drew McIntyre to go to Friday nights? We're live on Stadium right now. All right, we continue on here on our YouTube page. We are presented by Deemerbox. Go to deemerbox.com. Use the promo code COACH10 to get your most rugged Bluetooth speaker that you possibly can. All right, now that we know the Elimination Chamber is starting to shape up just a little bit, we've had time to think about it, Tommy. Do we now have an issue? Because CM Punk pointed it out tonight on Monday Night Raw. Do we have an issue with the fact that John Cena just put himself into the match and Adam Pearce, nobody has addressed it at all? That he's the only one that didn't have to fight to get into the match. Any issues?
Yeah, I had an issue with it. This guy comes after the show's over, right? The Royal Rumble's over. Hey, sits down, doesn't even talk, doesn't even bring Adam Pearce with him, doesn't bring Triple H to sit down during the news conference and say, I'm going in the Elimination Chamber. I don't care what you guys say. Only because I've been here 17 years. I've been 16-time champ. I get to go. Well, so does CM Punk get to go too. And if The Rock wanted to go there, I want to go there too. What goes on then? I mean, it's banana land, right? No, I agree with CM Punk. I think he should have. Oh, that's right. Cena's doing a movie in Hungary. That's the reason why he's not going to be there. That's the reason why he put himself in Elimination Chamber. Crazy land in WWE, Coach.
Crazy.
Gabby, back when The Rock was started to make movies, he literally had to quit because Vince wouldn't allow him to bounce back and forth between movies and Raw. Apparently, not only can you do it now, but you can go Hungary and Raw. Any issues? 30 seconds for you.
I mean, yeah, obviously it's a clear issue, but I just sit here and I'm like, it's John Cena. Like, if there's someone who's going to do it and they're going to let do it, it's John Cena. It doesn't bother me as much that it should, maybe, because it bothers everyone else a lot more. I'm just kind of like, at this point, you could throw Cena in a match, and I've said this, tomorrow it's WrestleMania. I'm still going to be entertained by whoever he's in the match with because he's John freaking Cena. So hungry or no hungry, I'm always hungry, but it's John freaking Cena. Like, no, you could question it, Punk, because it's good for storyline. And yeah, you should be pissed off because you're earning your spot. But I also think you're going to win the chamber, bro. So I don't know. Get over it.
Let's just remember, I came that close to beating Cena in a tables match. So I may throw myself.
How close is that? Is that
really close?
Wow.
Really close. Stop it. We're back live in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. Having a great time on late night on Mondays. Are you kidding me right now? I'm the coach. This is The Last Word, part of BTT Studios. Brand new. If you want to check out all of our stuff, we have a brand new website, behindtheturnbuckle.net. 3 big shows every single day. 2 of them are on Stadium. Actually, The Last Word is once a week. We're working towards every single day. We encourage you to join us live tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Coach and Company, our daily sports and sports betting show of record on Stadium, or you can watch us on demand on YouTube. And then, of course, you just saw Russo's rant. That is the Coach and Bro show every Monday and Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. Translation, damn it, we are everywhere. Now, it's time to flip the script. I get very weird about that one. I love these transitions. That one I feel very weird. It's very quiet. Just kind of nice transition. It takes me back to school. Russo came up with it. This is where we talk about something that's changed on the show or something that we would change on the show. And last week, guys, we didn't know if it was real. I feel like we're getting worked a little bit because we love ourselves, at least I do, some Drew McIntyre. And the word came out on the dirt sheets, which I hate, absolutely hate, that Drew McIntyre was pissed off and he left the Royal Rumble because somebody went into business for himself. So what happens? Drew McIntyre apparently doesn't get traded. There's no trade window. There's no trade deadline. He just is over on SmackDown, courtesy Nick Aldis. Stop with the trade crap. Now, Gabby. So Drew McIntyre is now on SmackDown. Out comes LA Knight. They even threw in a little line about going into business for themselves. Was this all a work from the word go?
I think so, and I'm mad because I fell for it, and I feel like I really didn't think it was, and I should have known better when it came to Drew because he's so good at making you believe like everything he does is true and real, and I should have known better. But I kind of loved that little segment with LA because it made me be like, damn, the fact that I'm even questioning if it's a work or a shoot is why it's as good as it is and why Drew is as good as he is. But you're completely right about the draft thing. Like, it's just at this point, people are just going wherever they want. It's just a free for all. So I love Drew McIntyre. I'm excited to see him on SmackDown, but I liked seeing him more on Netflix on Raw. I think something's coming for him. I don't know what yet, but he's got too much heat on him.
At what point? Who? Drew's got heat on him?
Drew's got heat on him in the sense of like he makes people think that he's doing things against the grain. You know what I mean?
Oh,
like,
gotcha. Yeah, that is true. That is true. But at some point, I mean, he lost every match to CM Punk. We did the betting odds at mybookie.ag, and Raphael made the odds for. And I said, Raphael, CM Punk's won every match. He goes, that's what I'm hearing.
Mhm.
And sure enough, CM Punk wins again. He does too much business, Tommy. At some point, he's got to say to somebody, Triple H or the powers of be, when do I get my time? When do I get to get the W? Because he gets to kick ass, but when it comes to an actual match, he never wins. And at some point, and we know it's choreographed, we know the finishes are predetermined, but it matters to the audience, and it makes him look weaker, which he is not, Tommy.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing I question on how they handle Drew McIntyre. The guy looks like a Greek goddess. He can cut a promo. He can work in the ring. He's very entertaining. Outside of the WWE, he would be great. And they just constantly keep burying him. So there's got to be a big reason for it. I think his day's going to come, and I think the whole LA Knight Drew thing was a big old work, guys. It made you notice. It made you want to watch SmackDown. You watched SmackDown when you saw the match. LA dropped the word, oh, I got to get my stuff in during his promo. That's all worked, buddy. And then Drew showing his face and everything like that. And it makes you want to watch SmackDown. But I think somewhere down the line, maybe during the summer, he's got to get that championship some way, somehow.
So I'm going to throw this out. I feel a little awkward, Tommy, because Gabby's on the show and she gets a lot of attention from people. Then you're talking about goddesses.
Oh.
Did you misspoke? You meant a Greek god, correct?
Oh, I said goddess. Oh,
yeah.
my.
You know, are we putting Gabby on front?
I blame myself. I distracted him. I blame myself. I apologize.
It happens.
Sorry.
It happens. I'm sure it happens to you every day. Doesn't happen to me every day. Damn it.
Every day.
No.
Here's the storyline that I would do. This is the segment, flip the script. And Gabby, you tell me if you agree with this.
Okay.
So Drew's gonna do what they're gonna do with Drew. And then we're gonna get through WrestleMania. John Cena is gonna win the Elimination Chamber. CM Punk's gonna be pissed off yet again. Cena's gonna beat Cody, your boy, at WrestleMania, be the champion through the summer. Then at SummerSlam, he will fight Drew McIntyre. Drew will finally beat the legend. He'll beat the legend and become the champion. And then John Cena spins the fall on his final leg of his tour, kissing babies, shaking hands, taking pictures all the way up to December. That's the next 9 months. Tell me I'm wrong.
I don't think you're wrong. I think it's an opinion, and it could be correct. I have a differing opinion if you want to hear how I would flip the script, Coach.
Of course I would. That's the name of the segment.
So I think what could be interesting, it doesn't mean that I think it's definitely going to happen, but I think we talk about the fact that he's lost to Punk so many times. I think Punk is his guy that will be the redemption for him. So what if Punk wins the Chamber and it is CM Punk, Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania, and this is started and will be Cody's villain era, and this is when Punk wins the championship from Cody. And then Drew comes back around for not only the championship, but the championship against CM Punk, who has been the guy that has completely ruined last year for him and beating him down. And he finally comes out of the woodwork and he's like, now it's my time. I'm going to be the champion and I'm going to mess your entire life up. And that's how I want it.
Tommy, let me bring you into this discussion because what she is overlooking in that whole thing is the fact that I'm going to get a text. I'm going to look down. It's going to say, Gabby Laspisa, Coach, I can't be on the show for 2 weeks. Cody lost the championship. I don't know what I'm going to do. Oh, my God, Tommy, what do I do? Cody's not the champion anymore. Then we got to find a third person, Tommy. What do we do? What do we do with that scenario?
We punt. I don't know.
You
Yeah,
gotta
with
shut it
Punk.
down. Without me, you're shutting the show down. What are you talking about?
You know, Coach,
I hate to admit that's true, though. Go ahead,
I do
Tommy.
agree. I do agree with you. I think Cena's going to win the title, and remember when Cena cut that promo that I'm going to win the 17th until somebody gets it for the 18th, and I think Drew is going to be that guy at SummerSlam that's going to beat John Cena and be the 18th, be that champ that he's going to handle the title over to. And I can see an angle down the line between Punk and Drew down the line during the summer or the end of summer into the fall.
Tommy, did you just see Gabby shaking her head while you were talking right there?
Yes, I did.
So disrespectful. Why are you shaking your head at Big Tommy C?
Because I think he's wrong. I don't see it being Cena McIntyre at SummerSlam because we're forgetting someone.
Who?
And Randy Orton.
He hasn't even been on TV for
Doesn't
how
matter.
long?
Doesn't matter. Okay, who cares? You're gonna
Why would you give him the strap? Why would you give it to him?
because Cody's
Yeah.
already talked about it. I'm putting him into the conversation because he's Randy Orton and he is very much a veteran, still as good as he's ever been. Just because he hasn't come back, it doesn't mean he won't be back for SummerSlam. Doesn't mean he won't be back in a month. Doesn't mean he's not.
What's
coming
his
back.
injury right now? How serious is it?
I don't know. Do you? I'm not 100%
No,
sure.
I don't
People
even know
thought
what the injury is.
People
I
thought
don't
he
even
might come
know.
back for Rumble. People were like speculating. Cody's talked about Randy. People, he's not in the conversation. And I think Randy and Cena or Randy and Cody.
So I got a question for you, Gabby. You
Sure.
would shit on Drew, a younger guy who's a
I
better
don't like shitting on
stud.
anyone, Tommy.
Well, you are because you're
Oh my
saying
God.
that you give Orton the title, and Orton doesn't need the title anymore. He's a
No,
veteran. He's a huge superstar. Is that what you're saying? I don't know.
no.
Maybe I'm misunderstanding.
I'm not shitting on Drew just because I have a differing opinion of what I want to see for Drew. I still love him and I think he's great. But I just think it's almost too much shoving down our throats of what's happening for Drew. He needs to have some feuds. I think his next feud is going to be with Damian Priest on SmackDown because they had that little moment in the Rumble. I think that it's too soon for him to be getting the strap from Cena. I don't think that makes sense for him for SummerSlam. I just don't see it happening for Drew. And I love Drew and I'm sold on Drew and I like him so much. But to me, Drew still needs to beat Punk to be happy with everything that's been happening because Punk has beaten him down and beaten him down and beaten him down in that feud. So that makes more sense to me.
I'm still shocked that he never got one over. What was it, 3
Right.
times? And Punk won every single time.
Yeah.
I didn't get that.
Right.
I didn't. To me, you could have given him the middle one. If you could still have gone where they went with him winning the middle match.
He got
But
embarrassed in that one, right?
He
got
did. He did. And then he took the shot to the head, which was unnecessary.
Yeah.
I never would have taken that shot to the head. I would say, no, I'm not going to do it. I mean, I still have chair shots from both sides of my head, chair shots that missed. And I didn't even take a lot in my career. And there are times that I forget. What's your name, sir? In the middle. See, I forget sometimes people's names. It's real. And so I'm never taking one of those shots to the front. Are you kidding me right now? Oh,
Yeah.
hell to the no. Hell to the no. It's going to be interesting to guys see what they do with Drew McIntyre. But I like the round robin of names. But the other part of this, and Tommy, we got about 30 seconds, is the fact that on Raw, with all of these names being gone, we're talking about them here, but they've just decided, injury or not, you can still have Randy on the show. He could come out without getting hit. Why are we not utilizing everybody that we possibly can on Mondays and on Fridays?
Dude, you're on Netflix now, and even if Randy couldn't wrestle, I would still bring him out. He's a huge star in WWE. He still is a huge star. You got to use everybody that you can right now. Instead, we're talking about Pete Dunne being in a match next week with Penta. It's just ridiculous, everybody. You got to use all your superstars. And when you got a guy like Randy Orton just sitting home, not doing anything, you could bring him in there and let him work backstage, do something, interfere with something. He doesn't have to wrestle if he's hurt. But when I see Randy Orton, that makes me think, oh, he's coming back. He's ready to be on Raw or goes over to SmackDown. Put it in everybody's mind that speculate what's going to be happening with Randy Orton. Instead, he's being home, not working at all. Ridiculous.
Tommy, you got to stop making sense because the ratings are not falling off a cliff. Oh, wait. Yes, they are. but we don't need to use our stars. We'll just throw Roman Reigns on a podcast with the wise man. That makes a lot of sense. We're still rolling. It is the last word. We are live late night on Stadia. All right, you OGs and degenerates watching on our YouTube page. We're here every single Monday night. Do not forget, tomorrow, Coach and Company at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Tommy, did you know that I've given an invitation to Gabby many a time to join you and I on Coach and Company in the morning? And you know what she told me?
What?
Coach, a little early for me, 10 a.m. Eastern Time. If you move it to noon, maybe, just maybe, I can show up. And I said, yeah. So she actually, I can't even, can you imagine somebody calling me and demanding certain things like moving shows? I don't know, equity in companies. I don't know, millions of dollars to do something when you haven't been on TV for 8 years. Tommy, can you imagine anybody doing that?
Not at all.
It's also inaccurate. He's a liar, so it's fine.
Well, I'm not talking about you right now. You're missing my entire point here.
Okay.
Oh, you mean the part about you saying that it was too early is a lie?
I've never
Is that
said
what you're
before.
saying right now?
Pull up the receipt of me ever saying that, Coach. I
don't have video of you saying it.
No,
We
or
were
a
on a live
text.
phone call. I didn't say it was on a text either. I said it was on a live phone call, so
Okay.
I don't have any proof of that.
Okay. I go by proof when people are saying things about me.
I mean,
Wow.
when you're not
Don't
relevant.
you, Tommy? Don't you, Tommy?
Wow.
If someone's saying something about you, wouldn't you be like, "Oh, I said that. When did I say that? Let me see it."
Yeah, but you guys know I'm a live phone guy. Like I'm a phone call guy.
No, I get your voice notes.
Yeah. Because Tommy, I'm out there trying to help the people.
We know.
I'm out there trying to pump people up. See, there's no bigger fan of Gabby than me. There's no bigger fan. And I think I proved that day in and day out.
I agree. He's my best friend in the whole world.
Oh, we have fun on Coaching Company. We have fun.
We do. We have a lot of fun. I feel like Gabby would be really good on F Day. That's her favorite word anyway.
It's rant day.
We have a segment called F Day where you get to cut a rant and it's going to be an F Day.
Yep.
Do you get to use the F word as much as you want?
No. But
Can we change that for me and I'll do
it? I'll maybe for you we'll make an exception. But the segment is called It's an F Day. All right, we're back live in 5 seconds. All right, welcome back, everybody. It is the last word. We are having a great time tonight. Thank you very much. The live number watching on social media and on our YouTube page is amazing. Thank you guys for tuning in after Monday Night Raw. We're here, and I know some of you have said, hey, Coach, can you guys come on right when the show's over? Well, guess what? We don't know when that's going to be. They haven't figured it out. 1 week it's 2.5 hours. The next week it's 2 hours and 40 minutes. We're on network television, and we got to start at the top of the hour. So thank you for that. But it's just not possible because Triple H is not helping us out at all. Thank you, Hunter. Now, there are other topics. If you guys missed it, there is another wrestling company, and one Seth Rollins had a little something to say. But this is where we call the last word.
We'll make some headlines with this one. I don't think there's anybody in AEW that's on that level. But, I mean, you're probably looking at like if you're looking at a LeBron, I mean, that's like a John Cena level guy. So I'd be looking at like a John Cena for, an MJF maybe. You know what I mean? That'd be like the deal. Luke would be the MJF.
All right, so he's talking about the big trade that happened in the NBA. If you've been sleeping under a rock, Luka Doncic got traded from Dallas to L.A. AD's already on the shelf. So currently, Luka is playing live on ESPN. He has 11 points, 3 rebounds, 3 assists, and the Lakers are up 25 points at halftime. So he's having a pretty good debut. But now Seth Rollins, Tommy, is talking about if there would be somebody to be traded between the two companies. And he said there's nobody really on that level over there except MJF. Is Seth Rollins incorrect? Or could you see a trade that would make sense between the two companies?
MJF is the guy.
MJF
is the guy. I don't think there's anybody else.
So who would you trade him for that would make sense, that would be contract? Because in the NBA, it has to be the dollars have to match up. You can't just trade the guy number 12 for a superstar. So who would match up to trade even up for MJF?
Seth Rollins.
Oh, man, I would love to see that.
Me too.
MJF throws a lot better punches than Seth Rollins. Mamby-pamby.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So it'd be Seth freaking Rollins for MJF. All right,
Yes, sir.
Gabby, let me come over to you. What stars do you think, if you swapped them, that fans would be like, okay, that makes some sense?
That's tough. I will say, okay. I'm not going to say a star, but can I say someone who I think in the future is going to be very valuable? Okay.
Whatever you want.
I love it. So I'm becoming a huge fan of Harley Cameron. I don't know if you've been watching and you've seen her doing what she's been doing. Are you familiar?
Oh, she's on AEW?
Yes. Are you being
you-
sarcastic or are you being serious?
No, I'm asking a serious.
Yes.
Yeah, I know who she is. She sings.
She sings, she does ventriloquism. She's only
hot.
getting better in the ring. She's beautiful. She's entertaining as shit. She's hilarious. She is the most refreshing thing that I've seen in AEW in a while. I think that she is a star in the making. She reminds me of Chelsea Green.
Is she the one that just sang on Jericho's Cruise with him?
Yes.
They had that set. Yeah, she's very entertaining, very attractive too. Can we trade her for the ring announcer on Monday Night Raw, please?
Oof.
Sure, that could be your trade. I would take it.
Oh my God, it's like nails on the chalkboard right now. But who would you trade Harley Cameron for for a WWE female?
I would put. That's tough. Maybe like Maxine Dupree, because they kind of are on that level of entertaining. Does that make sense?
Interesting.
I like
Makes
Maxine
kind of
Dupree.
sense. Well, now you have me thinking on the women's side. I was thinking if I was to trade like the biggest star in AEW, that would have to be Toni Storm and
Timeless Tony.
I still never bought the whole gimmick, but now she's back. I would say Tony. Oh man, maybe I could trade Tony for Rhea. I would not miss Rhea Ripley. I'm not as big of a fan as everybody else is because she can't cut promos. He's like Monday night, and it's like stop it already. So I would take Toni Storm because she can cut promos. She can. Rhea can. Tell me I'm wrong. Rhea cannot cut a promo, but yet they continue to have her cut promos. She can't.
I don't think she's as bad as you think she is.
She's great in the ring. She's got a good gimmick, but she can't. Tommy, do you agree with me or not?
Yeah, she can't cut a promo, but I think she's got something about her that people are interested in her. That's why she has the title right now. I would do Bayley.
Wow.
I would trade Bayley.
That makes more sense.
For Toni Storm. Toni Storm's talented, dude.
She's very talented.
Yes.
She's very, very talented. And
Yes.
Bayley, it would be kind of like what they did with Luca and AD. AD is kind of an aging superstar, still has some name value, still kind of a good hand. And then you got Luca, the young stud. Tony would be the young stud.
Yep.
Bayley would be the kind of, she's been around. She's won some Royal Rumbles. She's been in 2 Elimination Chambers. Her best friend is Sasha Banks. It would make a lot of sense.
Yep.
Because Bayley has not figured out what the rest of us know. Part of the reason she's been held back for the last year or two is she refuses to publicly dispel the best friendism that is Sasha Banks.
Mhm.
And I mean, can you imagine Vince if he was still here and you're hanging out with arguably the biggest female star in AEW
No.
and you're not apologizing for it? That would never happen.
Never.
Gabby, that would never happen. If
Never.
Vince, I mean, it's dumb to be honest with you.
It's a little crazy. I mean, even Super Bowl, like, I don't know. There was crossovers at the Super Bowl and stuff, and no one seemed to care. You know what I mean?
What happened at the Super Bowl? I was busy watching my team suck.
Oh yeah, I know. Me too. That was fun. For me,
So were the other 3. But anyway, what happened at the Super Bowl?
No, I'm just saying, like, the Bellas were hanging out with Britt Baker, like, who is one of the biggest female names in AEW. But it's the Bellas, and Nikki is now.
Yeah, but the Bellas are not. They're not even in the WWE anymore.
Well, Nikki just showed up at number 30 in the Rumble, and that's a one-off.
That's a one-off. She's not a WWE superstar.
I think she's coming back. I think
you know why they were there? They were with Mojo Riley.
I know.
Who was?
Mojo, his talent company. They must be all under him.
Yeah, we've worked with them. We work with them all the time.
I'm just saying, though, at the Super Bowl, they've also Britt is with Bayley, and like there's crossovers that happen all the time. But I do think that yours is the most significant one when it comes to Bayley and obviously Sasha Banks, now Mercedes Moné.
And by the way, Britt Baker, she's going to be in the WWE with it. Here's what Tony Khan's going to do. Because this happened at ESPN years ago. They cut a bunch of talent, and then a lot of them had a lot of money left on their deals. And instead of just writing them a check, they made them sit out for the length of time. If you wanted all your money, just like remember WCW back in the day when it went under, if you wanted all your money, you only got 50 cents on the dollar if you went to WWE right away. So all those guys like Goldberg set out to get all of their millions. And that's what ESPN did. They said, okay, so once you're off TV for 2 years, whatever, it's out of sight, out of mind. I can see Tony Khan being petty, not using Britt Baker on TV and saying, I'm not letting her out of her contract so she can go to the WWE. If you're not going to use her, Gabby, let her out of her contract.
So I want to ask this quickly because I know we have to. But speaking of that, there's Ricky Starks, who they were saying Tony Khan was doing that for, who just they said is no longer with AEW today, as well as Miro and Malachi Black. Are any of those people you would, I guess, now transfer to WWE? Would you want that any of them to show up and be?
Ricky Starks, I think, would be fantastic.
I agree.
Malachi Black's already been in the WWE, didn't do much. So, I think also sometimes people make more of people than what they are. Russo said it today. He goes, I would have cut 40 superstars that they have under contract. There is just a lot of people don't move the needle. And in 2025, if you're talking about a $5 billion deal, you better move the needle or you better be pitching something so Triple H knows you're thinking about your character. If you're sitting out in the arena like a lot of these guys do, Tommy, 20 seconds for you, you're going to be on the bye-bye train very, very soon. Your final take, Tommy.
Yeah. I think Ricky Starks is going to come to the WWE. He's really close with Cody Rhodes. So pay attention to that.
Yeah, he's also close with somebody else. Anyway.
Oh, I want to know.
You're a bad man.
Oh man, I've dropped too much tea tonight already. I have dropped too much tea tonight already.
Yes,
I'm going to get quoted on all the dirt sheets. They're going to say coaches talk. The one thing that hasn't happened in the last 6 months is all the stuff I've said here on the show. Not one time have I been proven wrong. Not once. That's all I'm saying. That's all I'm saying. Another great hour with my team. We're here live every single Monday night at 11 p.m. Eastern time. Thank you to Deemerbox. Thank you to shopmando.com. Tomorrow morning, live here on Stadium, Coach and Company at 10 a.m. Eastern time. We got to start live without football. Until then, I am the coach for Gabby, for Big Tommy, intern Dan, producer boy. We'll see you next week right here, live on Stadium. It's the last word.